Hi friends, there we go. So fun fact, I found out that when I post a video from my iPad that I have difficulty saving those videos to publish on YouTube. So I've got a second camera right here that's taking a backup in case I can't figure it out. Most likely it's one of those garbage in, garbage out kind of situations. We have plenty of those in the course of the whole thing. So second video today. Mike Vieser, good to see you on here, my buddy. Glad to have you here in the workshop. I've got some I've always got something cool going on in here. This is one of the coolest places in America, period. But everything is super precarious. Oh my goodness. Got you guys set up on a milk crate. So just while we're firing up the video and folks are joining, I know you guys have seen this one for over a week. And good to see you, Kevin, Blue Coffee. Had this one going over in here for over a week, and you know I'm loving that. And then I've got this. This is a stack of top sprays I did. This is stuff I've had hanging around in the workshop for the last year and a half since I shut down the operation and recombobulated my mind. I can't walk the streets now to combobulate my mind. And among these are prototypes, like the one, I think prototype is a pretentious word. I think it's a pretentious word that harkens to an age of mass production that I'm not really part of. This is the first one. Well, I was just playing around. It's certainly not the first scalloped model I made. I had a friend of mine in the early days who is a great electrician, and he, at the time we were close friends. Oh no, oh good. I had two very important things I almost left out. He did the wiring in my shop, all to code, wonderfully. And the deal was he got boards for life. So, you know, that'll make you feel frisky, like you can try anything. And this idea was one of the first things he tried. He said, I want to have a board that harkens back to those scalloped models from the 80s. So we made this template way back then. I used a red grease pencil to get that started. I believe it's a red grease pencil. It is. It does. It comes off. We started playing around with that, and I refined that and made that. Please, friends, this is not a big deal. You can make half templates yourself. It is not rocket science. Please don't go in on the hype. So I made this one, and then I made that one. Did a measure out on this one. You're going to want to know what the measurements are. I already did a measure out on that. And well, hang this on there. What's the worst thing that could happen if you hang your shirt on a sander? So this one's top sealed. So I top sealed these. And here's an 8-ply. This is an 8-ply 9.2, and it's got the old fickle tail graphic on it. Some of this is painful. You know, I don't have even the money. Look, I'm not saying I'm in any kind of like financial crazy bad situation here. I'm very grateful that we have food, we have shelter, I have clothing aplenty. I'm very content, but I do not have the ability within what I need, where my boundaries are, to ship things out places. And this one is one that is particularly, I made this one specifically for a person who'd been through some really tough stuff and had lost board sponsors and had lost a lot of their entree in the culture and everything. And here it sits still in my shop. And I literally don't have the wherewithal to ship it or the willingness to ask them for shipping money. And at this point, I give a big thank you to all the people who've said to me, I'll pay you shipping for things. I really appreciate that. That's really, I don't think you can appreciate how kind that is. You never know what someone's going through, you know? And then here, this one and this one, these are painful. I run a group on Facebook called the Makers Movement, and this pig and this, they call this money bumps when you do this. This pig and this money bumps, these guys were both destined for the UK. There was a big hassle in the UK and a rising tide of message threads that were beginning to be screenshotted and published about a maker, a small workshop, high craft maker of pretty good reputation, large reputation, who was burning people on their orders. And I saw this happening, and actually someone else saw this happening and contacted me and said, I'll pay the shipping to England if you will step in and make this right. And I've never told this full story. And I said, heck yeah, I will, because my interest was to salvage the reputation of craft makers from this slash and burn, not fulfilling orders. It's one thing not to fulfill orders. You all know that's part of my story as well. But this was beyond that. This was not fulfilling orders, and when the customer asks you, hey, where's my stuff? Instead of saying, look, I'm sorry, I've come across a problem, this, that, or the other thing, it is to attack the customer. So I actually reached out to this maker personally and said, hey, can you fill me in? I sent them the screen grabs I'd been sent. I said, is this a fair representation of what's going on here? And honestly, the guy just went, yeah, that is, because they don't deserve their product because they questioned me. And then it led into this big wrangle about just super hyper intensity. And I saw that, okay. So I said to the person who contacted me and offered to pay the shipping, I said yes. And I got a contact among those people who had been burned, and I said, hey, I'd like to ship you 5 boards custom. Would that be okay? Can you give me an address? They gave me an address, and we became fast friends. I mean, that's just the fact. The folks in the UK I just see a lot of goodwill and a lot of civility among them. I see a high emotional intelligence. I'm not saying that the number of idiots or the rate of idiocy is less in the UK than here, but the skateboarding community that I've connected with over there has been terrific. So if you've seen me and I've seen you, or you talked to me and I've talked to you in England, the UK, I think you're jam. I'm really grateful for you. Or I don't know you well enough and we haven't had a fight yet. But I made these 2 as the beginning of a pack of 5. And then my guy who offered to pay the shipping ghosted. And that's a lot in shipping 5 boards. But at the time, I could handle it. So I kept pressing in to make, and then I realized I needed to shut down. So I contacted my contact like way later. I explained to them the whole thing. They gave me the gracious, I kind of figured, or whatever. And we remain friends to this day. So that's my stuff sitting around, an inventory of the stuff sitting in the racks. I got a bunch of old cures over there and more sitting in there that I'm going to be cutting into ornamentals and stuff. Some of it is warped, and I'm happy. I don't think I pressed those a year ago. I think those are from a recent pressing that I did. Some of it's experimental layup, blah blah blah, fun stuff. But now is the time when I pull up my internet feed, my Facebook feed, and we do. So I've got screen grabs off of today's morning Facebook. One of them I found was this awesome picture that says, I made Mongo cool. I immediately sent this to Bill Danforth, who I think that I thought he'd appreciate that, because he kind of did make Mongo cool. Cannot believe people would discourage Mongo pushing. Then I had a great question here. Speed Rings washer question. This is just from Facebook. way back in the day, I had a bunch of washers, and I wanted to say something about speed rings and washers on your bearing setup. Of course, I didn't bring a wheel or anything, but we just talk? Do you ever roll your wheel on a fresh set of wheels and there's a little bit of a wobble to it? It's no big deal. It either irons out or it doesn't matter. Did you ever notice that? Because I have yet not to notice that. That little tiny wobble that's in your wheel when you get a fresh set of urethane wheels, that is an imperfection in the process. Somewhere in the curing or somewhere in the production, something is a little wonky, and that means that your bearings are going to be under some shaking tension, and it's possible with that kind of imprecision that you could infer that there is imprecision in the process, and it doesn't matter, and here's why. Wheels are made of urethane, and it's got give and take to it, and the wobble in the setup, I know that we like to hype this precision thing, but if it was truly high precision, there wouldn't be a wobble in your wheel. And you can actually squeeze your bearings in, get them all set, ride it for a while, and stop it all and do it again, and it still has the wobble, and that means the wobble is in the urethane. That means that so you've got a bearing and you've got a bearing, and they sit apart from each other with a space of axle between them, a nut on this side and the truck on that side. That's the sandwich. And that space in between them is empty. There's flex. And some people will put in a bearing spacer. Now the bearing spacer, supposedly, the bearing spacer is going to, you know what I'm looking for? Yeah, that's right. I'm looking to go high tech on this because I'm looking for precision art products to do this because I'm doing it. I'm going there. All right. So you've got the inside of your wheel, and you have a bearing here, and you got a bearing here, right? And you've got the end of the truck here, right? And you've got the nut on this end here, and there's the end of your axle, and your axle goes in between these two. So some people will put a bearing spacer in here. And then you've got a speed ring, they call them speed rings, they're little washers that will go in here and in here. Well, here's what we know. There's wobble in this system, all right, friends? There's wobble in the system. And so if we take a bearing spacer, right, which are like 2 cents or whatever, $1, and we put it in here, it's supposed to take up all the wobble and perfectly stabilize the inner ring of each of these bearings and create a system of tension that keeps these two bearings fully independent of the wobble of the wheel. It makes them stiffens them up. All right, and the speed rings are really important. There's no question you need your speed rings. That's the word need with an arrow. That's how high tech this is going here with these. So here's the deal. Bottom line, this speed spacer thing, this spacer you have here, there's no way that that's engineered and machined, custom specific at the correct length. There isn't. It comes from a Chinese factory and it's going to have some slop in there. How many thousandths of an inch? I'd say it has probably 10, probably more. Who knows? You don't know, but you're throwing that thing in there, and if that thing is not properly machined, here's what you end up with. I'm going to show you. And there's more. But if that thing isn't perfectly machined, and say you bought your bearing spacer and you get it and it's kind of wedge shaped like that, right? Accidentally has a little bit of wedge to it. Here's what you wind up with. You wind up with one bearing is twisting this way, the other bearing is twisting that way, and that can go this way, that way, it can go this way, it can go that way, this way. I mean, you can get it all sorts of ways, and that tiny bit there is robbing you of speed. So this advertisement of this high precision, this idea of a high precision system is a myth. It's not a high precision system. You say, well, Lou, what do we do? Well, first of all, keep your speed rings. Speed rings stay. You don't want to lose your speed rings, right? Someone wrote Peter Cockburn. I don't know who that is. So drop the spacer. That's my opinion, and it's very unpopular. drop the spacer. And here's why. Your spacer is not precision crafted, first. It's not precision crafted. That's the first observation. Second, the wheel has got wobble in it. And if your wheel's got wobble in it and you've got a completely tight system here, where's the wobble go? Well, the wobble doesn't go anywhere. It's messing you up, all right? So if your spacer isn't precision crafted, you've got shearing force robbing you of free motion. It leads to wear, loss of speed, blah, blah, blah. None of it matters. None of it's going into space. It really doesn't matter that much. I would refer you to Biker Sherlock if you want to know how important a high precision setup is to being wicked fast, okay? But taking out that spacer allows something very important to happen. Now, if you really are using a true precision wheel, use the spacer. But if you're using a normal production skateboarding wheel that you know they wobble, you've seen it yourself, you know that they're not all perfectly straight. If you're using a normal skateboarding wheel, ditch the spacer so that the wheel itself can flex. These bad boys are going to need to flex with what's going on in that wheel. Otherwise, stiffening them up will increase shear, increase wear, and you'll lose Rooster Coburn. James Coburn. Oh, maybe I know him. So, there you go. The riding surface, bearing seat, it's a crapshoot, my friends. It's a crapshoot. And anyone that tells you otherwise in skateboarding, which is everyone, they're pulling your leg. They're picking your pocket. It's just mythology. It's just a mythology. And that's why you just keep your speed rings, take out your spacer. Your bearing spacer also can be too short, and almost always is too short, and doesn't actually accomplish the tight system that you're okay good. So this has been a good, and that's just one Facebook post. All right. Someone says it makes a lot of sense. Well, I thank you, Pavlos. Thank you for saying that. I don't think I'm going to get any pushback about it because nobody's watching. Yes, these are the salad days when nobody's watching. All right, here we go. Next one. Oh, this was great. This one came from a group I'm part of. And this group is precious, but I'm not going to put their name out there, even though nobody's watching. I'm not going to put their name out there because it's a closed group. But they were saying that the only difference between one set of gatekeepers and another set of gatekeepers is I'm paraphrasing, we have an emerging phenomenon where the gatekeepers, he already knows we aren't nobody. He said, there's an emergence of a class of gatekeepers. I got accused of bullying back in the day because I was saying things that didn't reflect well on the mainstream. I got accused of being a bully of the mainstream, and it really did a lot of damage to my reputation. And now there are a bunch of us that we're just calling it as we see it. And the difference is we make sure the gate is kept wide open. If you roll on through and come play with us. Is this attitude that's spreading among, yes, we are an older, less talented class of skateboarders. Woo! Relatable, okay? But you've got, you can tell I'm excited, and it's not just the beautiful fresh coffee that I brewed. I'm excited because it's true. There's a bunch of guys like me, and we are enforcers and gatekeepers of that attitude. If you roll, we keep the gates open. If you roll on through. Doesn't matter what you ride, which discipline or which style you ride. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you're a boy or a girl or whatever's going on with you. Bring your skateboard. Let's play together, and let's leave all the other stuff, aside for a minute. Next thing from the internet today. This is just from my perusals. Let's see here. Oh, I've got some really good stuff in here. I wouldn't mind writing books. There was a new piece, Heroin Skateboards Dead Dave Lives video just dropped on Thrasher. And I thought this, and I wrote this to a friend. I'm a minute 34 into it and I'm fuming, which It's not good character. You'll see why. But I'm not fuming now. All right, I got over myself. I'm a minute 34 into it, and this is the Dead Dave Lives on Thrasher drop today. I'm a minute 43 into it, a minute 34 into it, and I'm fuming. Thrasher got to call us kooks and losers for the better part of 3 decades, and now they're blessing it. What good is that? Cut to the chase. What do I have to buy? 2, what questions do I have to never ask for Thrasher to like me? Nah, whatever. That's a little bit grumpy. A little bit grumpy. But the Dead Dave Lives part is skateboarding like Thrasher used to hate. And now they're blessing it. I say it's a win for everyone. But that crossed my plate today. And I was like, what? Okay, this one is non-skate related. Why I hate the Harry Potter series. This is a meme. It's yet another page of memeries posted on Instagram. This was from, and it says, "What's the worst thing a good guy ever did in a children's movie or show?" And in the first Harry Potter, Dumbledore basically gamed and cheated the deal so that the one house could win over the other. That's the kind of Mary Sue stuff that you get in Harry Potter that I could never swallow. I could never stomach it. Oh, he needs to be invisible. Oh, there's an invisible cloak. Whatever, dude. I'm gonna stick with the Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion, where they have to create an entire universe that has consistency within itself and an ethical construct that's truly didactic for actually living successfully on the planet. I'm just saying, that's me. Next piece of internet buffoonery. Let's see here. I'm just going to end it with, this is a picture of the porta potty where I was working yesterday. I was 2 hours north and it was cold and it started snowing really hard and it was a good work day. Okay, that takes us through the internet buffoonery. Now that down here we have a comment. Now that Phelps is gone, I think Thrasher might be more open to more than just the core skaters. You know what? That's sad and true. I think that one sad thing about the passing of Jake Phelps is the preciousness of a human being's life is more than their professional contributions. And I really think we must not conflate somebody's professional contributions with the value of their life. You know, if you ever have to stingingly criticize some professional thing, make sure to be willing to have a beer with that person or quaff a nice strong cup of coffee with that person and enjoy getting to know them as an actual person beyond that thing you disagree on. Unless they tell you they'll murder you at your house for embarrassing them with your brand work. That might be dicier. Maybe it does include that. All right. I do think that often in his career that Jake Phelps was just absolutely dead wrong about skateboarding. He was encyclopedic in his knowledge of his chosen view in skateboarding. He was impressive in the consistency of his ethics when he wanted to be, but I just disagreed with Jake Phelps, and it cost me a lot. It cost me a lot in my life, and I'm fine. Turns out anything I lost wasn't something I wanted to keep anyway. I mean, I speak mainly of the fickle respect of people in the industry. And well, that concludes my rantings on my social media Facebook feed. Please make sure and share my YouTube page. It looks like we will be small for a long time, and I couldn't be happier about that, because watching what happens, I've been studying what happens to a person's life when they do YouTube, and there's a lot of material out there, ironically, on YouTube about the effect of success in broadcasting on YouTube, and that's why I hadn't really done that as an important push in my life, because woo, what happens when you get into YouTube. But now my ambition is I want that comment thread to be present on the long term of these videos. I don't want my archive of work to be hosted within Facebook. I want it to be hosted within YouTube. I can't imagine a thing that we'll get into that will cause my YouTube to be pulled down or punished. This just isn't the stuff that I think they're coming after. I don't. Although what I said about Harry Potter earlier, maybe that'll get me the boot. Give me some downvotes. But got to put that in there for those Indiana boys that like to make those mashups of me looking dumb. I hope they're still doing that. You Indiana boys that are doing those mashups, keep up the good work, please. I am a ridiculous creature, and I know it. And so when you make fun of me for it, I go, yeah. This has been, I think this was not a horrible time together. Daniel Jardine, he writes that Facebook banned him for a month for saying arse. Oof. Listen, I am not a person without strong opinions. And I am not a person without unpopular opinions. And neither are you. And if we're getting banned from things and bumped off things, that's not a good thing. But what I really want to do, I want to see more people get more stoked on riding skateboards. That's the push. Yes, I'm a relatively, I have a Christian thing that is at the core of who I am. It's gonna come through. I have a strong mind on ethics and industry. I have a strong mind on ethics in the skateboarding industry, and that's gonna come through. I have a chip on my shoulder about bullying. I cannot hold my tongue when I see bullying happening, as you could see with the Bam Margera thing I did earlier in the week. And still somehow in the whole thing, I didn't lose my empathy for Bam. And I didn't abuse the bully. Oh, see, this is my this is my high-tech setup. Oh, look it! I knew it would happen. It must be time for us to quit, dear friends, because my entire high-tech setup just what do they say? Took the piss? Well, friends, thanks for joining me down here in my erstwhile secret lab, and I am going to finish this video and see if I can save it. And if I can't save it, I had this running the whole time, and I'll use that. So thanks for being here with me. This is me signing off. To me signing off, it's Inception. All right, friends. Thank you. Peace. Peace be with your spirit, and I'll catch you on the flip side.